Did you know that unconscious bias in the workplace can significantly affect employee engagement and retention? It's true. These deeply ingrained attitudes and subconscious preferences we carry can impact how we feel and think about others around us. And guess what? We are all susceptible to it. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into this topic. We'll unpack what unconscious bias is, explore some common examples, and most importantly, discuss ways to identify and address these biases in our workplaces. I'm Lauren, your go-to coach for new leaders. If you're interested in leadership, personal growth, and creating positive change in your workplace, you're in the right place. So hit that subscribe button, and if you found this video helpful or informative, please share it with a friend. Let's get started. First things first. What exactly is unconscious bias? It sounds pretty heavy, right? Well, it's actually something we deal with every single day. Yes, you, me, everyone. Unconscious bias, also known as implicit bias, is like an autopilot of judgment. It's those snap decisions or assumptions our brains make about people and situations without us even realizing it. These biases are rooted in our upbringing, our experiences, and societal norms, and they can sneakily influence our attitudes and actions. Let's put this into perspective with some examples. Imagine you're interviewing candidates for a new position on your team. You meet a candidate who went to the same university as you. Without even realizing it, you might feel a stronger connection with this person and view them more favorably than others. That's an unconscious bias at play. Or let's say you have a team member who's quieter and less assertive during meetings. You might subconsciously perceive them as less competent or less committed than their more outspoken counterparts. Again, that's unconscious bias sneaking in. It's important to remember that having these biases doesn't make us bad people. It makes us human. But as leaders, it's our responsibility to be aware of these biases and address them so we can create a fair, inclusive, and productive work environment. Addressing unconscious bias isn't a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing journey of self-awareness, education, and action. But don't worry, I've got your back. Let's explore some strategies to help you tackle this head on. The first step is recognizing that we all have biases. It's part of being human. So take a moment to reflect on your own biases. What assumptions are you making about people without even realizing it? Self-awareness essentially involves recognizing our own biases and acknowledging how they influence our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. It's like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. It allows us to see what was previously hidden from us. So how can you boost self-awareness? Here are a few practical steps. First, reflect. Take some quiet time each day to reflect on your interactions. Did you make any snap judgments? Did certain stereotypes come to mind? These reflections can give you valuable insights into your own biases. Journal. Writing about your experiences and thoughts can be incredibly enlightening. It allows you to spot patterns in your behavior and attitudes that you may have missed otherwise. Take implicit association tests. These are online tools designed to uncover our unconscious biases. Harvard University offers a range of these tests that you can take for free. I'll make sure to link down below. Now, let's look at a specific example. Let's say you're a team leader and you notice that you're often assigning more challenging tasks to men, while women tend to get the tasks that you perceive as less demanding. Upon reflection, you realize that you might be harboring an unconscious bias that men are more competent or capable than women. So, what do? First, acknowledge this bias. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. Next, challenge this bias. Remind yourself that capability is not determined by gender, but by skills, experience, and drive. Then, consciously start assigning tasks based on these factors rather than gender. Remember, self-awareness is not a destination, it's a journey. It's about continually checking in with yourself, asking tough questions, and being open to learning and unlearning. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It means you're growing, evolving, and becoming a better leader. And that, my friend, is something to be proud of. Once you're aware of your biases, it's time to learn. Read books, watch videos, attend workshops or seminars on diversity and inclusion. The more you understand about different cultures, experiences, and perspectives, the better equipped you'll be to challenge your own biases. And when I talk about education here, I'm not just talking about formal schooling, but rather a life lifelong learning process that involves unlearning biases and relearning inclusive behaviors. Education is a powerful tool for combating unconscious bias. Here are some ways you can use education as a strategy. First, learn about different cultures. Broaden your understanding of different cultures, traditions, and experiences. This can involve reading books, watching documentaries, or attending cultural events. The more you learn about others, the less likely you are to harbor stereotypes or biases about them. You could also attend workshops and seminars. There are numerous workshops and seminars on diversity, inclusion, and unconscious bias. Attending these can provide you with valuable insights and practical strategies for addressing your biases. Stay informed about current issues. Keep up to date with news and issues related to diversity and inclusion. This can help you understand the challenges different groups face and how your biases might contribute to these problems. Let's look at a specific example to illustrate this. Let's say you're a team leader and notice that you tend to overlook the ideas of your younger team members, favoring those of older, more experienced colleagues. This could be an indication of age-related bias. To address this, you could educate yourself about the value and perspective that individuals of all ages bring to the workplace. Reading articles, attending webinars on age diversity, and engaging in conversations with younger colleagues can help you break down your biases. Next time you're in a meeting, make a conscious effort to listen and consider the ideas of younger team members. Remember, good ideas can come from anywhere, regardless of age or experience. Ultimately, education is about opening our minds to new perspectives and challenging our preconceived notions. It's a journey, not a destination. By continually learning and growing, we can chip away at our unconscious biases and create a more inclusive and fair environment for everyone. The next strategy is to encourage open dialogue. Foster an environment where your team feels comfortable discussing biases and its impact. This isn't about pointing fingers, but about understanding each other better. Remember, it's key to approach these conversations with empathy and respect. Encouraging open dialogue is like opening the doors and windows of a stuffy room. It allows fresh perspectives to flow in, and it invites everyone in the room to contribute their unique ideas and experiences. But how do you actually encourage open dialogue? Here are some practical steps. First, set the stage. Start by creating a safe space where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. This means setting clear guidelines about respect, empathy, and confidentiality. Next, invite conversation. Ask open-ended questions that invite thoughtful responses. For instance, how do you think we could make our team more inclusive? Or have you ever felt overlooked because of a bias? Then, make sure you are listening actively. When someone is speaking, give them your full attention. Show that you value their perspective and are eager to learn from them. And then, acknowledge and validate. Even if you don't agree with someone's viewpoint, acknowledge their feelings and validate their experiences. This can go a long way in building trust and encouraging more open dialogue. Now, let's look at an example. Let's say you're a team leader and during a team meeting, you notice that one of your team members, Maria, seems hesitant to share her ideas. You suspect it might be due to a language barrier as English is not her first language. Addressing this directly and openly could look something like this. In a private conversation, not in front of the group, you could say, "Maria, I've noticed you often hold back in meetings. Your ideas and perspective are really valuable to us. If there's anything that's making you uncomfortable, I'd love to understand and see how we can make things better." This approach opens the door for Maria to share her experiences and for you to discuss potential solutions together. It also sends a strong message to Maria and the rest of the team that you're committed to addressing biases and fostering an inclusive environment. Encouraging open dialogue isn't always easy, but it is so worth it. It helps us see one another more clearly, understand each other better, and work together more effectively. And as a leader, that's what it's all about, right? Our next strategy for combating unconscious biases is practice mindfulness. Slow down your decision-making process. When we rush, our unconscious biases have a way of sneaking in. So take a breath, pause, and make sure you're making decisions based on facts, not assumptions. Mindfulness is like a soothing balm for the mind. It helps us slow down, tune in, and become more aware of our thoughts and feelings. And when it comes to addressing unconscious bias, mindfulness can be a game changer. So, how can we use mindfulness in this context? Let's explore. Mindful meditation. Regular meditation can help increase self-awareness and reduce bias. Even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. There are numerous meditative practices, but one simple technique is to focus only on your breathing. Notice each inhale and exhale. Mindful listening. This involves truly focusing on what another person is saying without letting your own thoughts or biases interfere. When someone is speaking, try to stay fully present and open-minded. You might be surprised at how much more you understand and appreciate their perspective. Mindful reflection. Take time each day to reflect on your interactions and decisions. Did you notice any biases creeping in? What could you do differently next time? This kind of mindful reflection can lead to powerful insights and growth. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're in a team meeting and a new member, Jamal, proposes a fresh idea. Initially, you find yourself dismissing it because it's different from the usual way of doing things. Recognizing this reaction, you decide to practice mindfulness. You take a moment to breathe and clear your mind, and then you listen again to Jamal's idea, this time with openness and curiosity. You ask him to expand on his thoughts, encouraging a dialogue. After the meeting, you reflect on this experience, acknowledging your initial bias and appreciating the value of staying mindful and open to new ideas. Practicing mindfulness isn't always easy, especially in our fast-paced world. But trust me, it's worth it. It's like cleaning a dusty window, allowing you to see yourself and others more clearly. And this clarity can lead to greater understanding, empathy, and inclusivity. Our next strategy is to implement bias-interrupting measures. Adopt practices that minimize the influence of bias. For instance, you could use blind resumes, where names and other identifying information are removed during recruitment, to focus purely on skills and qualifications. Implementing bias-interrupting measures is like putting up stop signs on a busy road. They help us pause, reassess, and make more informed, equitable decisions. So, how can we use this strategy to address unconscious bias? Let's explore. Standardized processes. By having clear, consistent processes, we can reduce the influence of bias. For instance, standardizing interview questions can help ensure all candidates are evaluated fairly. Use objective criteria. Whenever possible, use objective criteria to make decisions. This could mean using performance metrics instead of subjective judgments when evaluating employees. Seek diverse perspectives. The more diverse our decision-making teams are, the less likely we are to fall into bias traps. So invite people from different backgrounds, departments, or roles to weigh in on decisions. Now, let's consider a practical example. Imagine you're hiring for a new role in your team. To interrupt potential biases, you could implement a blind recruitment process where you remove names and other identifying information from resumes before reviewing them. This helps ensure that each candidate is evaluated based on their skills and experiences, not their race, gender, or other irrelevant factors. Then, during the interview process, you use a standardized set of questions for all candidates, and you have a diverse panel of interviewers. After the interviewers, you and your team use objective criteria to evaluate each candidate and make a decision. Implementing bias-interrupting measures isn't always easy, but it's so worth it. It's like installing a new filter in your air conditioner. It helps clean out the dust, or in this case biases, and lets the fresh air flow freely, or fair decisions. The next strategy is to seek feedback and accountability. Ask for feedback regularly and welcome it with an open mind. Whether it's from a mentor, a peer, or your team, external perspectives can help highlight any unconscious bias in your behavior. Seeking feedback and accountability is like asking someone to hold up a mirror for us. It helps us see aspects of ourselves that might otherwise remain hidden, including our biases. So, how can we use this strategy to address unconscious bias? Here are some practical steps. Ask for feedback. Regularly invite others to provide feedback on your actions and decisions. This could be as simple as asking a colleague, "Did you notice any biases in the way I handled that situation?" Establish accountability structures. This might involve setting up regular check-ins with a mentor or coach, or even creating a diversity and inclusion committee within your organization. Respond to feedback constructively. When someone shares feedback with you, thank them for their honesty, reflect on their words, and take appropriate action. Now, let's look at an example. Say you're a manager and you've just completed performance reviews for your team. To seek feedback and promote accountability, you could ask a diverse group of colleagues to review your evaluations and share any potential biases they notice. You might say, I want to ensure I'm being fair and unbiased in my evaluations. Could you review these and let me know if you notice any potential biases? This approach not only helps you identify and address any unconscious biases, but it also sends a powerful message to your peers about your commitment to fairness and inclusivity. Seeking feedback and accountability isn't always comfortable, but the growth it can lead to is simply incredible. It's like adding a new workout to your exercise routine. It might be challenging at first, but over time it makes you stronger and more resilient. I want you to know that it's perfectly okay if this all feels a bit overwhelming. Change is hard and growth can be messy. But guess what? You're not alone. I'm here with you every step of the way. So if you're a new leader and you're struggling with any of these issues, or maybe with something we haven't even touched on today, please reach out at the link below. I'd be honored to support you on your leadership journey. We can chat about strategies, share insights, and maybe even laugh a little along the way. Because that's what friends do, right? Before we wrap up, I want to express my gratitude for your time and your commitment to learning and growing. It's leaders like you willing to face their biases and strive for fairness who are going to make the biggest positive impact in the world. That about wraps it up. We've explored practicing mindfulness, implementing bias-interrupting measures, and seeking feedback and accountability as strategies to address unconscious bias. I'm so grateful you've joined me for this important conversation. Remember, these strategies aren't just tools in your leadership toolkit. They're steps toward creating a more fair, inclusive, and empathetic world. And that's something worth striving for, don't you think? If you found value in this video, please consider sharing it with others. Let's spread the word and inspire more leaders to take action against unconscious bias. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insights on leadership, personal growth, and positive change. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, you're doing an amazing job. You've got this, and I've got you. Let's do this leadership thing together, shall we? I'm Lauren, your leadership coach. Until next time.